What level of deliverance are you looking for? Yes, God, again, what level of deliverance are you looking for? This is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, day number 1, the Torah portion of the era. And we go into basically to the meat and potatoes of this deliverance story as we begin now in chapter number 6 of the book of Shemot or Exodus in verse number 2. And it simply says, and Elohim spoke to Moshe and said to him, I am Yod-He Vav-He. Ani Yahweh. Now, why did he say that? Moshe has just complained to Yah in the last verse of the last chapter and then gets a response in chapter 6, verse 1. Moshe says, why have you done evil to this people? Why did you send me? For ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he's done evil to this people. Pharaoh has responded to your demand that he turn your people loose with evil. And then he says, in an accusational tone to Yah, the boldness of this man, you have not delivered your people at all. Now, instead of rebuking Moshe for having the audacity, the unmitigated gall to reproach the Most High, Yahweh said to Moshe, chapter 6, verse 1, now see what I will do to Pharaoh. Yah says, I'm going to play him like a puppet on a string, like a bad banjo. I'm going to play this man. Now, it has been argued that Pharaoh had no choice. He simply had to do whatever it was that Yah wanted, and that free will was taken from him. Not so fast. Yah knew the way that Pharaoh would respond to any given stimulus or situation that would motivate him. And he used the hard heart of Pharaoh. He used the inclinations of this man, who was but a mere man, in such a way that Yah's will would be done no matter what Pharaoh tried to do. Yah knows it all. He knows our hearts. He knows the intentions of our hearts. He knows the motivations of our hearts. He knows the desires of our hearts. He knows it all. And at times it can seem like he is rendering us as mere pawns on the board, moved at his discretion and for his pleasure. But then again, he's the creator. And we are on this earth to effect righteousness, right justice, and to see his kingdom come and his will to be done. And if I need to be a pawn in his hand, even a sacrificial pawn, I don't know a whole lot about chess. I played a little as a kid, but there are times that you will sacrifice one piece in order to gain a greater advantage against a more strategic piece. Yah has a strategy. He has a plan. Now, at the time of this video, I know that there are many in this audience that are very upset. Recent political events have left you with a very bitter, undesirable taste in the mouth of your spirit. That may be not all in this audience, but I know that from the phone calls and from the text messages and from other forms of communication, there are many. It's just you're seething, you're enraged, you're angry, and I understand that. I've gone the gamut of all of these emotions myself. Then there is the host of informations and those that are given it that are talking about secret plans and about majestic moves and miraculous countermeasures, and They may not appear and take place. We don't know. There's nothing else to do but to seek the face of the Father, cry out to him for justice to take place, and then let him do what he does. Now, how is this going to turn out? I don't know. I have no idea. I'd like to say, well, it's going to go according to my wish and my desires. Somewhere, a few moments after those wishes and desires may be granted, I may regret because of lack of wisdom or lack of knowledge about things beyond. We simply don't know. The only thing we know is what's right in front of us. So those things said, the house of Israel, those who belong to Yeshua, those that are redeemed by his blood, are in exile in this nation. And for those that are watching that are not really clear what I mean by that, this land, as majestic as it is, as glorious as it has been, as wealthy, as life-giving as it has been, not only to ourselves, but nations and other peoples around the earth. This is not our destiny. The kingdom of Yeshua is coming to this earth. We actually believe that an alien being with a mighty army of alien beings is going to invade the atmosphere of this planet, and at a key battle scene, they are going to decisively destroy the armies of the earth, and this alien being is going to set up his rule and reign over the earth that will produce a millennia of shalom, of peace, of tranquility, of righteousness, of light over darkness on this planet. It is magical. It is fantasy. It is the plot for the greatest sci-fi movie ever made, perhaps, but I believe it to be true. Now that ought to be said, all being said, let's look at what other men in similar situations have said. In the book of Daniel, chapter number 9, he says that in the first year of the reign of Darawesh, the son of Ahasuerus, that's a terrible pronunciation, of the seed of the Medes, who was set up as a sovereign over the reign of the Kasdim, he said, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, observed from the scriptures the number of years according to the word of Yahweh given to Yirmiyahu the prophet. He's discerned we had 70 years to be in exile. At the end of 70 years, we were supposed to have already repented of the sins that brought us here so that we could be released and go back home. And he said, we need to start repenting. And he says, I prayed, in verse 4, to Yahweh my Elohim and made confession, and I said, O Yahweh, great and awesome El, guarding the covenant and the loving commitment to those who love him and to those who guard his commands. And he begins to confess that we sinned. Now he's dealing with a national issue. It's not just personal. Although he personally involves himself in the scenario, he says we as a nation have done this. Let's consider, in addition to him, the book of Habakkuk. That's the book that none of us read very often. In chapter 1, beginning with verse 1, the message which the prophet Habakkuk saw, O Yahweh, till when shall I cry, and you not hear? I cried to you violence, and you do not save. Why do you show me wickedness and cause me to see perversity? For ruin and violence are before me, and there is strife and contention arises. Sound familiar? Like current headlines. He says the Torah ceases and right ruling never goes forth. One translation says justice never prevails. Nehemiah, likewise. He said he heard the report that the remnant of those left in captivity in the province of Israel, they're in great evil and reproach. The walls of Jerusalem is broken down, the gates burned with fire. And he cries out, yeah, you got to do something. That's what we're doing. Yeah, you got to do something. He's going to do something. But he's going to bring about a deliverance that goes beyond current crisis. He's going to bring about a deliverance that brings the kingdom. That's what we got to be praying for. More about this tomorrow. Until then, shalom.